Furality is a series of cons hosted in VR chat, specifically for the furry community, as a way for people to get together and still have conventions while this pandemic thing is still going on. I attended Furality Luma back in June and have attended Furality Legends this past weekend as of this recording. Furality Luma is one of my favorite and fondest memories I've had in quite a long time. I got to hang out with a bunch of new friends, everything seemed super welcoming and really enjoyable. The worlds were incredibly well created with this wonderful atmosphere, incredibly helped by the wonderful theme, The Wandering World, composed by Hayu. It was an incredible experience, and it was really sad to see the worlds go afterwards. A lot of people hoping that they could find backdoors in and stuff after everything was shut down, but alas, those didn't stay open for long. Obviously, when Furality Legends was announced, I was excited to attend yet another virtual con, especially considering that I'm sick right now and am kind of still riding a bit of a high from BLFC, and I kind of wanted to get back into the thick of things. To say that I was disappointed by Furality Legends is an understatement, and I don't even really know where to start. I am going to go into this with a full disclosure though. At the time of the recording this, I am sick, and I was sick during the weekend events as well. How much that could have affected my enjoyment of the con is up in the air, but I do feel like a lot of the things that I have to criticize about the con are valid regardless. To keep things from getting a little too rambly, I'm going to segment this off into parts, and the first one I want to address is what did Furality Luma do right? Well, I kind of already went over what Furality Luma did right in at least its presentation. It set a really good atmosphere and had a wonderful theme to back it all up. But also, I really want to go into detail about what was so special about the worlds of Furality Luma. In Furality Luma, the dealer's den was kind of kept in this area that was like a pathway that you could walk along, and then there were big, giant twin trees in the background. And if you tried hard enough, you could actually climb and get up on top of those trees. I did that on the final night of the con with a bunch of my friends. I thought that was a really nice touch that, was probably mildly unintentional, but once they noticed it was there, they just kind of left it there. Everything felt so limitless, and if you really wanted to try, you could get around just about anywhere. I also like the things like you could see the little meetup spot from the main world. I thought that was really cool. It made it feel a lot more unified as a world, that you could see other parts of it from other spaces. The attention to detail was just really interesting, and I feel like that was really missing in Furality Legends. I guess I should at least say a few nice things about Furality Legends. So the first thing that I will point out is the little filter in the sky over the sun. The little comic book filter was a really nice touch, and that they did at least make it feel like this was a city superheroes would look after, like at least to some degree. If it was midnight and there was no one out and about, to me the worlds just felt barren and just did not have that sense of wonder or atmosphere. I don't want to bash too much because I know that a lot of people worked really hard on this, so I at least want to say that I see what you were going for here, but it just feels so bland. Like, this doesn't feel like an exclusive con-only experience. This feels like your typical run-of-the-mill city VRC world. And if that's what you were going for, great, but I don't think that was the case. The reason people were sad when Furality Luma's worlds were closed for good was because you couldn't go back to them. I'm not really going to miss the worlds of Furality Legends. I will give one big props. I do like how the dealer's den was done better this time around. The world itself had some unique stuff to it. I really love the little fish tank thing in the middle. I also liked how it was all sectioned off and it was really easy to find what you were looking for if you were looking for something specific. I do appreciate that a map was also given and that the winter hole wasn't split up into 3 different parts. That was a nice touch, and I didn't understand why that was done that way before, but regardless, I was glad to have it all in one place this time. I also liked that when you walked into one of the booths, the video started playing in the background. That was also a nice touch. Basically, I have nothing but positive things to say about the vendor world, but everything else left a lot to be desired, at least in my opinion. The panel rooms were just very small and insignificant. They didn't really have a lot to them. The hero meetup spot was very, very uninteresting, as was the villains meetup spot, although I did like that it was split up into 2 different spots like that. It's something I would love to see done again in the future. And my biggest complaint, but also a place I have to give some big props. The DJ room, or the yeah, whatever, the music place. I do have to give props where props are due. I like that it was a little bit more easier to activate the particular kind of world you wanted to see, if you wanted everything on, if you wanted the lowest settings on, or if you just wanted to listen to the audio. I liked that a lot, and I hope that's a thing that they continue to do in future Furalities. It was a nice touch in Luma as well. But it just felt so congested, to put it lightly. The club world was so small, and I didn't like that there was a bunch of stuff littering the floor that like was supposed to be used for dancing and stuff. I thought that was really annoying, and it just made everything feel super tight and clumped together, which is just not great for a quote-unquote dance floor. And while the lights and whatnot were very impressive, it just didn't have the same kind of feeling. It also didn't really have the safe space where you could go away from everything for a little bit and just vibe with your friends, or if you were watching a friend perform, you didn't really have a spot you could go away from everything and go talk to them for a bit, like they did in the other world. I don't know. The attention to detail just wasn't there this time around, and it was really unfortunate. I will say, from my experience, that the worlds ran very well, but I also spent the entire time in desktop version, so I don't know how well it ran in VR settings. But regardless, it was all running very smoothly from my end. I guess I could talk a little bit more about the main world, but there just isn't much to talk about. There isn't like an area of like fan art or anything like that, like the Furality Luma place had. There wasn't like any designated hangout spots like there was in Furality Luma. There was just kind of the center area and everything else around it, and I felt that that was really boring. I did find a little pathway where you found this box in the background, but I never found out what happened there. And I didn't even have to look that hard to find it. I just walked around and then saw that there was a tunnel and just went into it. There wasn't really anything to it. I don't want to bash too much, but the theme that was used for Furality Luma was really generic and did not really set much of a mood. I did like the costumes a lot of people were wearing though. I just thought that was cool. Although it kind of made me feel like I missed the memo, and a lot of people were wearing like cool superhero costumes, and I'm just running around as my typical dragon self. Not only that, their panels this time around weren't quite as diverse. Granted, I'm not much of a panels guy to begin with. Whenever I go to cons, I may attend like a panel or two, but I'm mostly there just to hang out with friends and maybe go to dances and stuff. I don't know, none of the panels really interested me this time around, but that's more of a subjective thing. The music didn't really interest me as much this time around either. I went to Spitfire's set because he's my friend and he typically makes music I enjoy, but outside of that, nothing really caught my eye. And I hate being this like unabashedly negative because a lot of heart and soul was put into this, but I really do hope that like they could do better going forward. This just feels like a massive step back in basically every way. Furality Luma was super special because it felt like a real con. It felt like a real experience. It felt like the people were actually there, and this time the distance couldn't have felt greater. And how much of that is me not being able to go into VR as it was probably intended to be enjoyed instead of in desktop version because I'm sick is up in the air, but I feel like that presents a new issue because I feel like I still could have had just as much fun in Furality Luma if I was just running around in desktop mode. But again, this is all hypotheticals because I was in VR for most of the time. The magic just wasn't there for me this time around, but I am excited to see where they go with Oceans of Luma, which seems to be returning to the Luma setting that Furality Luma had, but this time maybe being entirely underwater, which, you know, for someone that is terrified of being underwater is a great sign, but hopefully it's not scary and it's more relaxing, but we'll see. Regardless, this is just my opinion, and hopefully people aren't too upset about it. I know that the team behind Furality works very, very hard to make an experience people can enjoy. And as far as I could tell, a lot of people did really enjoy it, but unfortunately, this was just kind of a miss for me. Thank you for watching. If you have any interest in future videos or future content, etc., I mostly am a Twitch streamer, and I spend a lot of time saying dumb things on Twitter. Everything is the Nido Queer. Thank you so much, and you have a great day. Be safe.